Today we have a look at the World Trade Organization. Firstly, we mark the member states of the World Trade Organization. Altogether are there 160 member states. Its headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland. The main purpose of the World Trade Organization is to regulate and liberalize world trade. Since more than 95% of the world trade is processed between member states, is the WTO very important. The idea to establish an organization which regulates the international trade arose after the Second World War, just like the idea to found the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank. The idea based on the free trade theories of Adam Smith and David Ricardo, but was also boosted by the Great Depression in the 1930s, because the return to economic protectionism was considered as a reason for the Second World War. Therefore thought one that economic agreements could protect peace between the countries. In the year 1947 were the international trade relations regulated by the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. 23 countries signed this agreement in 1948, but 3 of them didn't ratify it. To the GATT belonged 128 countries in 1994, and was at the beginning of 1995 replaced by the World Trade Organization. Today are 160 countries member states of the WTO, and 24 governments have observer status. Since 1950 increased the world trade volume 20-fold. Here can you see the sea trade routes, and here are all trade routes inclusive internet and air. Most of them are between the industry nations, but the trade with countries in Asia increases fast, because they export many products to North America and Europe. How does the World Trade Organization work? Every member state of the WTO has to comply with the most favored nation principle. That means when one member state grants, for example, trade benefits to another member state, it has to grant the same trade benefits to every other nation in the World Trade Organization. But there is an exception to the most favored nation principle: free trade zones. Here can you see the 4 most important free trade zones. To the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, belongs Mexico, Canada, and the United States. To the Mercado Común del Sur, MERCOSUR, belong 5 South American countries, plus 5 additional associated nations. The European Union, which has nearly no custom barriers, and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, which has 10 member states. Reason for this exception is the idea that regional integration is the first step to global integration. Global duties decreased on average almost completely since 1945. Still decreased duties on average from 40% of the product value to 2.2% today. The budget of the World Trade Organization is also used for the so-called dispute settlement body, which handles trade disputes. Such a dispute existed, for example, between the United States and the European Union. The European Union complained about the US subsidies for the aircraft company Boeing. In January 2011, declared the World Trade Organization those subsidies illegal and allowed the EU to react with reasonable trade sanctions. Another problem area in the WTO is the agriculture, one of the last economic sectors which isn't completely liberalized. Here can you see the development of the grain prices. They are related to the increasing demand for animal food, to price speculations, but also to conflicts and changes in weather. Because of those factors, increased the grain prices, and that resulted in food riots in many member states of the World Trade Organization in the year 2008. Within them, Mexico, Egypt, and Indonesia. Agriculture is still an important topic in the WTO, especially because of the differences between the North and South countries. The emerging markets in the South make the majority in the World Trade Organization, but they suffer under the industry nations, which support their agriculture with subsidies. Because of this, try the WTO to establish a new basis of trust with the so-called Doha Development Round. But unfortunately couldn't they make any agreements until today. I hope you enjoyed our trip to the World Trade Organization. But there's still a question left. What do you think?